Hey, welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. Hayley is here from the Artesia Chamber of Commerce, and let's talk some chamber stuff. There was a big weekend a couple weekends ago, so now you've had a little bit of downtime.
Well, kind of. I mean, so we had our Sporting Clays Fun Shoot, which was our 13th annual. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to think that we've already been doing that 13 years. But it was fun. It was a good turnout. The weather was beautiful. It's an outdoor event, so people spread out. And
Did you have fans?
The wind was blowing a little bit.
Okay, there you go. That works.
And it's always good to be out the shooting range. You know, I think back to the first year we had that event, and we were one of the first out there. I think the Boy Scouts had done a little shoot out there before us, but ours was kind of the first sort of big one. And the shooting range was really just a big old piece of land, and they were doing their best to create stations, and we had to rent machines, and there was no building. We just kind of set up outside and in the elements or whatever. And it's really amazing to see how far they've come as a completely all volunteer organization. They've worked so hard, and they've built a pavilion. I know they have plans to expand on that even. And they have an office out there, and they've built different companies have come in and built the stations that are really fun to see and representative of the company or the community or something. And so it's really neat that we have that here in Artesia. It's a great entertainment venue. Anybody can go out there. You can be a member. It's not expensive, and you could go out and shoot on your own time, or shoot at an event, or do a registered shoot, or go out with some friends at your convenience. And you have a card, and it.
Oh wow!
It you put a value on it that amounts to targets, and you can pull the targets and shoot. And so it's really cool. I think it's a really great asset that a lot of people still don't really know about, but a small group of volunteers have built that thing up over the years. And so anyway, just kind of reflecting back on that, and when we were sitting out there a couple weeks ago for our 13th year and thinking about what all of these guys have done and all the activities they have, and listening to some of their plans for the future. So if you're a shooter, a shotgun shooter, you need to become a member. And if you're not, you should even think about being a member, because it's a lot of fun. It's just a great outdoor activity. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to be safe.
Don't have to be good at it?
You don't have to be good at it. Just be safe. There's only one way to get good at it.
And that's keep practicing.
Keep shooting, yep.
Keep shooting and do all that.
So that happened, and really Balloons and Tunes is just right behind that. So we have between those two events are about 6 weeks, which isn't much in terms of event planning. So
it had to be encouraging to see that the balloons have been getting off the ground.
Yeah, no, the weather's been beautiful up there, and watching all of that. They have, I heard the number over 500 balloons, 580 balloons or something. I feel like that number is...
There's a significance to that number?
Well, I feel like it's lower than normal.
Okay.
But still, obviously, that is a lot of balloons. And it's been kind of interesting to see that getting some national coverage. You can turn on the, Fox and CNN or whatever and see it. It's kind of funny. But, I think that's good. And pilots are, I think, ready to come out. And so there's still opportunity to get involved in that. We're still planning. And
do you have some pilots signed up already?
We do have some pilots signed up. Yeah, but there's room for more still. So we hope that some of them will join us. A few that are probably at Fiesta who haven't signed up yet that we're expecting. And so we've gotten some new pilots. A lot of our regulars are coming back, of course. And that's another one. We've been trying to figure out what the start date of that event was. We don't have just a ton of records that go back that far. Yeah, our first balloon rally here in Artesia, which it's changed over the years, but the rally part of it's always been the staple of the event. And I think it started in like 82, which is really cool.
Could have been.
Looking back we have found some newspaper clippings from like 82, 83, and we can't really tell I
If it was
think
like an
those were the
official
first-
event, or if just
Or
some
if that
balloon-
was kind of the first one, or if there was, we're not really sure, but it was like 82, 83. So,
I remember one year, Main Street was closed,
oh, yeah, we did that a few years,
and
actually.
the band set up right here in the middle of 4th and Main, and then up and down Main Street were the baskets for the fire concert.
Yes, that
one
was
night.
before the trees were big.
Yes.
I was thinking about that. We did that a couple years. We did a couple years in the intersection of 7th and Richardson.
Okay.
And that was sort of at a time, I feel like the rally might have, at that time, was the same weekend as Art and Park.
Okay.
So it was in conjunction with that, and that was a lot of fun. That's kind of moved over around town.
It's been at Roberts Park before. It's been at different places, but it seems like the last couple of years, the Eagle Draw, since the city started using the non-potable water to water it, and there's actually kind of sort of carpeting down
yes,
in there.
yeah.
It's turned out to be a pretty decent place to launch from.
It's kind of neat. It's kind of fun to watch, too, because you don't realize how much lower that is, actually. And so the weather, I guess, changes even as you're launching up out of Eagle Draw. So you'll see balloons, they're going up very slowly or whatever, and then suddenly they'll just take off in one direction or the other when they finally kind of break the barrier past lifting up out of Eagle Draw. It's fun to watch.
And there's
so-
lots of place for people to park along there to get out and
it's
watch.
pretty neat how many people do come out and watch, and some people are still in their pajamas. We start early,
Yep.
but it's fun to see people out there with their coffee and their sweats, and some people are out running and walking, but they come out and check it out, and there's something very magical about that.
Yep. Yep.
So it's pretty neat.
Is that where it's going to be this year? Is
Yes.
in the Eagle Draw? Okay.
We will lift off out of Eagle Draw.
What are the dates?
It's the weekend of the 5th, 6th, that we're 6th, 7th, the Saturday, Sunday.
November 6th.
November
and 7th.
6th and 7th. So
Okay.
Sunday's always fun because then the time change has happened and everything starts a little earlier. But it is what it is.
That is the time change weekend.
It is the time change. I know. They moved the time change weekend to us.
Yes.
We were on that weekend, and then they moved the time change. And
Yep.
So,
they moved it to
yeah.
right after Halloween, so the trick or treating's kind of important at that point.
Yeah.
So you have room for sponsors? I mean, if a business wanted to sponsor a balloonist,
there's still time for that. If a business or a family, I mean, it's a $400 sponsorship for the weekend, and you hang out with your pilot. You get to fly or chase, and all of that is dependent on the pilot and the weather and all of that. But it's a really great weekend. So a business we're happy to take a business sponsorship, and they'll send out a group of employees or customers or whatever. But we are seeing more and more families doing it as just a fun weekend, that you could go somewhere else and spend $400 easily just on hotel rooms, not to mention gas and everything else you're going to do, and you spend time instead here with your pilot and get the experience of flying and chasing. The chase is a lot of fun too, and just the whole process from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So it's a fun weekend. And
It's like the sign says no trespassing. Does that mean what the sign says?
I mean,
Yes, it does.
yeah, it does. You just got to be nice.
Well, do they have? I heard this somewhere. They've flown enough around here. Do they have like balloon friendly and non-balloon friendly
There actually
places?
is, and they'll know. They know that they all share information about experiences they've had landing one place or the other. Obviously, they don't have a ton of control over which direction they're going, but they do tend to know whether they're heading north or south, what who's friendly, who's helpful, where they're absolutely no landing, don't land there, they'll come and chase you out. or just the areas that are not good because they're full of stickers or, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, they all know that. And,
like, you probably don't want to come down inside the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center complex. That's probably a no-go.
Yeah, that's true.
That's probably a no-go.
Two things that are always interesting about flying in Artesia is every time I've ever gone up in a balloon, I've always been amazed at how many trees are actually in this town. And you don't really, from ground level, you don't think about that as much as when you're up in the air and you can look down and see them all. And the second thing is how much dogs really don't care for balloons. They just lose their minds. You can hear 1,000 dogs barking from up there. They're just all going bananas.
Especially when the burner goes off.
Yes.
And it makes that noise. Now, that's the balloons part of Balloons and Tunes.
Yes.
What are we doing for tunes?
So the tunes, so we always team up with the schools and the band. The band comes out and plays for the fire concert, and which is a lot of fun to see those guys out there. I just love the high school band. And so they come out and play and do a little choreography thing with the flames and all of that. It's pretty neat.
Now, they've done that last couple years in the Bulldog Bowl parking lot.
We've been doing that in the Bulldog Bowl parking lot, and we're trying to work on something extra special this year in conjunction with the football game. So depending on when that is, and Bulldog Bowl, so we'll see. And then that is also the weekend of Bulldogs on Review.
Okay.
So we really encourage everybody to go get their tickets and check out Bulldogs on Review. It's always popular, and some of the pilots go to, and the sponsors, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that'll be the tunes portion.
That's the tunes part of it.
Part of it. Well, we've already had a guy jump out of a airplane and parachute into the Bulldog Bowl.
Right.
That's happened.
Yes, that has happened.
I don't know if we've had a hot air balloon land at the 50-yard line with the game ball. I don't think that's happened yet.
Oh, that would be...
But think about it now. You've got the Jumbotron. You've got the light standards. I mean, I'm thinking it's probably easier to jump out of an airplane and parachute into Bulldog Bowl than it might be to navigate everything
and just land
in the Bulldog Bowl.
Right there. It's probably a little easier to take off from Bulldog Bowl.
That would be the case.
Than to land in Bulldog Bowl.
Where could they land? I mean, they could land somewhere around there, and then somebody could run in with the game ball. I don't know.
True.
That would be a little
Or
safer.
they could hover right over it and drop the game ball in.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, somebody's got to catch it. That's how you do it.
No.
You don't do a coin toss. You just
I'm
drop
thinking
the ball and see
that
who catches
velocity and speed, and I'm sure there's mathematicians, scientists running out there right now as to what the impact is. They drop the football from 100 feet or whatever, and then there's this divot in the... And some people are going to be really upset if that happens.
Yeah, that could be.
You don't want that to happen.
That could be.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, see how the markets are doing this morning. We'll be back, talk more with Hayley from the Chamber of Commerce coming up next.
With the SRN News Business Brief, I'm Rich Thomason. Following yesterday's sell-off, Wall Street opened higher this morning. Overseas, shares rose in Paris, London, and Hong Kong, but they fell in Tokyo. Energy prices are soaring worldwide.
As global economies emerge from the pandemic, their appetite for energy is rising, but supplies are struggling to keep up with demand. In Europe, levels of stored gas are much lower than usual for the time of year, while imports from Russia in particular have slowed. With winter approaching, prices have been rising. This has also pushed up the cost of generating electricity.
That's the BBC's Theo Leggett reporting. The U.S. trade deficit increased, hitting a record $73.3 billion in the month of August. A small gain in exports was swamped by a much larger increase in imported goods. With business, I'm Rich Thomason.
When I was young, I thought I had forever to prepare for retirement. But as the years went by, retirement got closer and closer. Well, I wish I'd have started saving 10 years earlier.
How you spend your retirement depends on what you do now while you're still working. We've helped a lot of area seniors prepare for retirement. Stop in and see us about saving for yours. Western Bank of Artesia. We're big on you. Member FDIC.
This is Renee.
Happy to be here.
She's not some influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker, turning her 4-acre lot into a little slice of heaven behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. Renee runs with us because the most important job is the next one.
That's all I got.
Nothing runs like a Deere. Hear Renee's story at Deere.com.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com. Having nice clothes to wear doesn't have to come from a big box store. Think outside the box and visit the Auxiliary Thrift Shop in Artesia. Browse through their huge selection of quality used men's, women's, and kids' clothing, shoes, belts, purses, and linens. The Auxiliary Thrift Shop also have FRs and clothing for oil field work. Donations are accepted during business hours, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 4. Why pay more when you've got the Auxiliary Thrift Shop? Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 4 at 611 North 1st Street in Artesia.
Guy Chevrolet Company in Artesia is your one-stop for all your automotive needs. From GM certified service and parts, body and paint repairs, to a great lineup of new Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC models, along with our hand-picked selection of new-to-you cars, trucks, and SUVs, we've got you covered. We invite you to come see us today for excellent customer service and the hassle-free buying experience you deserve. You'll find us right here on the corner of 1st and Main in Artesia, where we've sat proudly for almost 97 years, or at GuyChevy.com.
Well, the Eastern New Mexico State Fair is coming up, and while a lot of people associate the fair with rides, funnel cakes, and feeling queasy, the FFA and 4-H kids are all thinking about their animals. You see, these kids are the first to tell you, our food doesn't come from the supermarket, it comes from the farms and ranches. And they've been working hard all year, raising up their animals and hoping for blue ribbons. This is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company, reminding you, a lot more happens in the country than just stealing watermelons. Or maybe that was just me.
So you think drinking alcohol can't hurt you? It'll mess you up big time. Say adios to large chunks of your brain. Major damage is already being done. Other parts of your body are getting wrecked too. Forget about sports, forget about school, forget about doing much of anything. Underage drinking freaks out your body, messes up your life.
Sponsored by the NMDOT.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I, live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/free. How much? Free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, welcome back. We've got just a couple minutes before the top of the hour. The Balloons and Tunes weekend, again, is November 6 and 7.
Yes.
If people want to sponsor a balloonist or...
They want to sponsor a balloon, and there'll be other activities. Look for other activities. We'll be doing, you can build, basically tissue paper balloons and launch those. It's a fun project for the kiddos, and I think there'll be a painting class at the Ocotillo that is balloon themed, so that the Arts Council's hosting. So there'll be some other fun activities around town for the weekend, and it's a great way to spend a fall weekend.
Yeah. Hopefully the weather will still be nice.
Usually the weather's beautiful. It's super cold in the mornings, but it warms up. The day's usually beautiful by 9 o'clock, and yeah, it's a fun weekend.
Well,
so.
and there could be a football game that weekend, but
right.
then again, there could not be
playoffs, and so we just never know.
That's the first week of the playoffs,
yes.
Which means if Artesia is a top 4 team, they would have an open date. But if they're 5, 6, 7, or whatever, then they would have a game. But if they're 5 through 8, the game would be here in Artesia that weekend anyway, but it could be on Friday night, could be on Saturday. It all just kind of
We're counting on you, Bulldogs.
depends to see what's going on with all that. It's going to be interesting because Artesia's off this week before they go to Roswell next week, and Roswell and Goddard play their last non-district games this week, and they're both out of town. And Roswell High is playing in Dumas, Texas. Have you ever been to Dumas, Texas?
I have not been to Dumas, but I understand that you just have to look for the stadium.
That's what they told me. I said, where is the stadium? And he says, well, I can't actually tell you because we just know where it is.
That's good. You just drive around town until you find it.
See the lights on Friday night.
Town Hall.